your time, your energy, your money, your momentum. It's actually 4 things, isn't it? And today, that's what we're talking about on this edition of Super Coach, live from the Greatness Factory, where we build greatness. We manufacture greatness. What we're going to talk about is how do you get on the right side of momentum. Momentum is just energy headed in one direction or another. How do we get on the right side of momentum? You're watching Super Coach, and I'm Coach Michael Burt.
Everybody needs a coach in life. Coaching businesses and entrepreneurs like you to spike an additional 40% to your bottom line. Michael Burt is a multi-championship coach, best-selling author, trainer, motivator, and all-around super coach. Now, from the Greatness Factory Studios, this is Super Coach.
Hey guys, Coach Michael Burt, Super Coach. Coming to you live from the Greatness Factory. We had an unbelievable training this morning with all of our monster producers on the selling system, on legacy selling, how to go out and build networks, how to work a pipeline, how to push people through the pipeline, how to go 7 touches in the follow-up, how to extract referrals. And every single week I do a show and a podcast. You can get that. You can download on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, Podcast Republic, called Super Coach. And Super Coach is how do we build momentum in your life, right? How do we get your money right? How do we get your life right? How to get your business right? And so we're playing this today on my Facebook fan page. Good to see everybody out there today. And listen, we're going to talk about a very important thing if you're selling anything, which is momentum. And many of you know I was a former championship women's basketball coach, and I would tell you that winning is about one thing, and one thing only. It is about momentum. How do you move momentum? It's not how you start, right? It's how you finish. It's how you build. It's how you compound momentum. So today we're going to talk about how do you build momentum in your life? How do you build momentum in your sales career? How do you build momentum in your business? Because I see a lot of people out there that I'm coaching and working with, and they can't seem to build this momentum. It's like they're climbing up a hill, and it's very, very hard. And because of that, they get distracted and they give in and they give up, and then they start using excuses. It'll take too long. It'll cost too much. It'll be too hard. Listen, I'm a big believer that momentum is where it is. Momentum is just energy headed in one direction or another. We can create positive momentum if we really learn how to take action. So this morning when I was teaching our selling system, which we give to all of our monster producers, it's really about how you map out and attack a day and build momentum. Okay? It's really about how you map out and attack a day and build momentum. So I want to show you in this show how I try to build momentum in my life, because I do believe that money and opportunity follow 3 or 4 things. They follow attention, they follow energy, they follow circulation, they follow activity, they follow calculated action. We build momentum through movement. We build momentum through circulation. We build momentum by mapping and planning and attacking a day. We don't build momentum by sitting. We don't build momentum through stagnation. We don't build momentum by hoping. We don't build momentum by waiting. We build momentum by understanding that what we're really selling. What we're selling is a bigger future. What we're selling is energy. What we're selling is through a relationship with you that a person is going to be much better off in life. And I go back to my life when I was 25 years old. I didn't have any positive momentum. I was kind of a wreck. I was coming out of a bad breakup. I was depressed. I remember sitting at Thanksgiving. We just had Thanksgiving holiday. I remember going down to Panama City Beach when I was, I don't know what age it was, by myself on Thanksgiving. And they didn't even have anywhere you could eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I'm down there by myself, feeling sorry for myself, trying to find a place to eat some turkey, trying to find a place to get involved with something. And I was just on the wrong side of momentum. And you know what I was doing? I was contracting. And I was retreating. And I was keeping to myself. Instead of overting energy, I was subtracting energy. And so if you want to think about momentum as a basketball coach, I would tell you anytime I started a game off on a strong note, I actually was scared, because it was like momentum was on my side, but there was a whole lot of game left. We come out of the gate strong, but there was a whole lot of game left. I really needed a little bit of momentum in the first quarter and a little bit of momentum in the second quarter. And I really need to be picking that momentum up in the third quarter. And I really need to have momentum in the fourth quarter. I actually remember a game in the very first sub-state I coached in McMinn. I'll never go back to that city again. I was up 14 points with 3 minutes to go in a sub-state game, and I went into a prevent defense. I started stalling. You know why I started stalling? Because I didn't believe we were good enough to win. So in my mind as the coach, I saw Butch Jones do this at Tennessee all the time, is he would get up, build momentum, and then contract and stall. Get up, and then get scared. Get up, and then get afraid of losing things, right? Listen, this is a problem. It's a problem for a lot of big-time people. They figure out how to build momentum, and then they get scared. And then they start getting afraid of losing. And because they get afraid of losing, they start pulling back and contracting and cutting versus expanding and pushing. This is a mistake I made a lot of times in my life, guys. I'm making some big decisions right now, and I got to remind myself. That's why I'm coaching you today on this concept, how to get on the right side of momentum. See, you build momentum through ongoing systematic. Jim Collins talked about it in Good to Great. He talked about the flywheel and the doom loop, which is where you build, you build, you build, you build, and then one day, boom, it breaks through. Most people say it's at the 10-year mark, but if you're not taking calculated action every single day, you're not building momentum. And so what happens is you get on the wrong side of momentum. So that game where I was up 14 points with 3 minutes to go, I went into prevent defense. And I'm stalling. Jack, I want you to think about this. I'm up 14. I'm on the road. I got 3 minutes. All I got to do is run the clock out in 3 minutes and we win the ball game, which places us in the state tournament. But I got scared because I really didn't deep down in my mind believe we were good enough to win. And because of that, here's what I started to do. I started to pull back. And when I pulled back, guess what happened? The momentum shifted. My own players could sense that we were scared. And because of that, they started making stupid mistakes, dribbling off their leg, throwing the ball out of bounds. The momentum of the crowd began to shift. They began to put more pressure on us, and we made more mistakes. And the next thing you know, we started to go from being up in the game to now 14 seconds to go, I'm down. I went from being up 14 with 3 minutes to go to in the last 14 seconds of the game, the only time the other team took the lead was in the last 14 seconds of the game, and we lost by 1 point. And it taught me a very valuable lesson. My scarcity thinking, my contraction, my defensive posture actually cost me. And I walked out of there saying one thing, and I'll tell you this before I give you some kryptonite. Here's what I said. Anytime you play not to lose, it guarantees losing. In any part of your life, anytime you're in a relationship, you play not to lose that relationship, it guarantees you're going to lose it. Anytime you play not to lose a big business deal, it guarantees you're going to lose it. Anytime that you start subconsciously working against, you're suppressing. See, I think the good Lord wired us to advance, to take dominion, to multiply, to grow, to expand. I do not think he hardwired us to play defense and contract. So what you're doing is you're actually suppressing that drive to go out into the world and exert force and energy and become that means or source for supplying energy for other people. See, that's what I did. And so at 20, 25, 26, 27 years old, I make this mistake. I actually cost ourselves the momentum, and I cost ourselves. And let me tell you something. I didn't forgive myself for a long time because my players went out there and did exactly what they were coached to do, which was go take dominion and win. And I actually was holding them back as their leader. You can't do this in your business life. You can't do it in your personal life. You got to learn that once you build momentum, you got to ride it. You don't want to slow it down, man. It's moving. This train is moving, right? So let me give you some kryptonite to get you out here on this segment. Kryptonite's the one thing holding you back. One thing you're doing. See, here's how kryptonite would be kryptonite for me, Jack. Is that I would actually allow my past to hold my future hostage. So I made a bad mistake at 27 and 28. I see Derek Godwin on here, Jose. Because what I would do is that would haunt me. And every time I went to make a big decision in the future, I would let that momentum. See, when momentum is happening, you need to go with it. You need to flow with it. You need to run with it. Because what you'll do is you'll make the mistake I made as a high school basketball coach, is you're going to take that thing that's running and you're going to slow it down. And what happens is you end up on the wrong side of momentum. Today we're talking Super Coach, how to build some serious momentum and get on the right side of momentum. I'm Coach Michael Burt, the Super Coach, coming to you live from the Greatness Factory. When you going to step into your greatness? Come on back in segment 2. I'm going to show you how to get on the right side of the good energy. Jack asked me if I had anything on my mind after speaking the last couple of days to 600-700 people. A couple things that come to mind is out of every 100 people, there's 5 or 10 that raise their hand that are serious about getting better. It's a real sad state, to be honest with you, because they're not even interested in their own potential. People show up with no notepad to take notes on at a sales rally. The first thing a person does is walk right up to me and say, well, you know, my kids got potential. They need a coach like you. And I'm like, no, man, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your potential. Let's not talk about your kids' potential. Let's talk about your potential. So one of the things I've learned is that a small percentage of people are actually interested in greatness. They're actually interested in pushing and expanding and growing. Most people are in a very complacent state, which means they just go through the motion. They produce a little bit, but they really don't raise their hand and say, I'm ready to go play at a much higher level. And they're a lot more interested in their kids' potential than their own potential. Potential is not age specific. It's important to all of us. We all got a lot more potential in the tank. So that's some observations I had over the last couple of days that we're trying so hard to get people engaged in their own potential. They ought to come with batteries included and say, how do I get better? They ought to be curious in their potential. They ought to have an intensity and an interest in their own potential. But sadly, very few people raise their hand and say, I'm in, coach. Put me in because I'm ready to get better. Don't let that be you. Hey guys, welcome back. Super Coach. Got a big day today, Jack. We have people here at the Greatness Factory learning the legacy selling system. I hope you're out there in the world. You're looking for a coach. You're trying to get on the right side of momentum. Maybe you've been on the wrong side of momentum like I was at 25, 26, 27 in my life. Although some positive things were happening in my business, in my professional life, my personal life was headed in the wrong direction. I was out goofing off, partying too much, couldn't get any momentum, hanging around people that had low thoughts of value. I'm right in there with them, man. And one day I made up my mind that I was going to build positive momentum in my life. I made up my mind, and I actually made it up sitting in that restaurant on Thanksgiving Day by myself, Panama City Beach, Florida. I said, man, this ain't no way to live. I got too big a future. I got too much going for me. I got too much potential. I got too much talent. You need to be saying it to yourself sometimes. This ain't any way to live, man. So I started trying to build this positive momentum in my life, and I look back on my coaching career. It took me 10 years to build a championship culture. Loved every minute of it. But what we really built was momentum, because you know why? My old school has now won 6 of the last 8 state championships. That's momentum. Took 10 years to win it, right? But the first time I was there, man, I dropped the ball. I wasn't very good. I contracted. And I remembered anytime you play not to lose, it guarantees losing. What happens is there's an abundant mindset. There's a scarcity mindset. The little person in your brain, when you go to make decisions, is always going to be scared sometimes. It's always going to be going, don't do it. Don't take a risk. Don't start your own business. Don't go out and find the right vehicle. Don't make the investment because you could lose it. You could lose it. That's what the little person on this side is saying. The little person on this side is saying, man, you're a big-time person. You're a person of interest. People are counting on you. You're going to show up. Your positive energy is going to be greater than any negative energy you're going to face in a day. So what you got to do is I know you're listening to these two voices every single day. Kiyosaki always said you got a fat kid on one side telling you to eat everything, and you got a skinny kid telling you don't eat it, man. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. And so you're sitting there, you're thinking about this concept today, and I would just challenge you. If you're on the wrong side of momentum and you came to me and said, look, man, I got to play at a higher level, coach. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you we got to get serious about the calculated actions you take in a day. So what I do every night is I map out my days. I map out my days every single night, my Monster Producer Planner. I start my day every single morning. I try to start every day. Most days I do with a sermon. I try to start every day in Scripture. This morning I'm reading in the book of John where Jesus is talking about remain in me. As long as you remain in me, I am the vine, you are the branch. Nothing happens without me. But if you remain in me and obey, hey, here's what he said, ask anything. And anything you ask will be granted. Now, here's what I'm saying. That's momentum. So I'm trying to build momentum every day. I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like going to work out. So first thing I do is I get in the Word every morning, read the Bible, listen to a sermon, gets me in a positive gratitude mindset. Then I go work out with Clay Skipworth, my trainer. I don't want to be there. Clay's pushing me. But I said, Clay, I want to get down to 165 for 10X, man. I got to get thin. Can you tell I'm getting thinner? Jack, I'm eating better. I'm getting thinner. People are noticing. You know what I'm doing? I'm building momentum. And I set goals 90 days in advance. I don't set 5-year goals. I don't set 20-year goals. I don't operate in those. It's too far for me. What I said, it goes right out in front of my face. I set a goal 90 days. I'm going to speak at 10X in front of 10,000 people 90 days from now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build momentum in the body. Okay? I'm going to get in a men's group. I'm going to build momentum in my spirit. Okay? I'm going to get in the Word every single morning, every night. I'm going to get in the Word in my faith. I'm going to get in a momentum, right? I'm going to come in and work my selling system every day. I'm going to get in momentum with my sales. Every day I'm building momentum. It's about rhythm. It's about rhythm. And when you get out of rhythm, what happens is you get complacent, which is a gradual settling to a place of mediocrity. So you're asking me, how do I get on the right side of momentum? I'm going to tell you how to get on the right side of momentum. Okay? Number one, who you associate with can get you on the right or wrong side of momentum. Number two, the actions you take daily. See, discipline to me is the ability to subordinate what I want now for what I want eventually. I build momentum by taking daily actions. The private victory always precedes the public victory, right? I'm working my selling system daily, my calculated, right? And I'm having success, and that success is breeding confidence, and it's breeding more confidence. And listen, and when the haters and the naysayers and the doubters and the people come in, what you got to do is you say, I don't major in the minors, right? I'm not allowing those toxic thoughts to get into my brain. I'm staying in this positive stance. I'm staying in this offensive mobility. Now, in the old days, when you think about the war, David Stagg, when you think about the war, we would advance so far, and then we would actually move into a defensive posture. We would go down into a bunker, and we would hold our position. That stops momentum. Anytime you hold position, it stops. Anytime you move backward, it stops momentum. I would move so far, they would move so far, and they'd go down and they'd hold position. The enemy would move so far, hold position. And then we invented the armored tank. And when we invented the armored tank, it's all offense. All the time. It's momentum, it's energy, it's force, it's pushing, it's growth, it's expansion, it's improvement. You understand what I'm saying? So, who you hang around, daily actions you take. Okay? Not contracting, not retreating or contracting, build momentum. Okay? And here's the deal. Build short cycles. Get in shape in short cycles, 90-day increments. Get your business in 90-day increments. Get your folks in 90-day increments. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because once I can get you building this small momentum, it starts to build some serious momentum in your life. And then I would finish the show with this. If you're on the wrong side of momentum today, remember this. What got you here won't get you there. Every action you take is driven by your thoughts. Your thoughts are no wiser than your understanding. You're on the wrong side of momentum because you're thinking. Okay, I just did a show with my wife about how both partners need to get in proximity to other people, because one could be in a funk and one's growing. You know why? They're both not in proximity to energy. They're not in proximity to what's happening. So one is growing and one's not. You know what that builds? Stale momentum. So think of your states as dynamic, static, or entropic. That's energy. I'm dynamic, I'm static, I'm entropic. And some people grow when they're dynamic for a period of time, and then they flatline. They flatline. That's static. And then they fall off. That's entropic. So here's what I would tell you about momentum. It's not a good start don't always guarantee a strong finish. Right now, I'm trying to build momentum here at the end of the year, in the last 30 days of the year. I'm trying to push. Listen, I'll recalibrate in December. There'll be time to take a break. There'll be time to shut it down. There'll be time to vacate and decompress. But right now, I would tell my players, when you see them tired, okay, lay the hammer down. When you feel them about to go, lay the hammer down. It's like a boxer, man. It's like a coach telling a boxer, one more punch, and you're going to knock him out. Here's what I would tell you for you. One more step, one more punch. I believe you're just one season away. We're just one person away from a new season in your life. One action, one thought, one process, one person. You're just one thing away from a complete new season in your life. And I can't tell you when it's going to happen. I'm having conversations with people every day that blow my mind. The amount of opportunity that I'm now exposed to, the partnerships, the joint ventures, the relationships. Man, I just couldn't even imagine 10 years ago. I was just out there. Do you know what I was doing? Getting one client at a time, one phone call at a time, one person at a time, one opportunity at a time. And when you build and build and build that momentum, you know what happened? One day you wake up, boom, and then you can't even control it because it's just happening. I remember, I'll close on this, standing in the middle of Murphy Center, which is the big gymnasium here, the night that we won a championship, and looking around at people on their feet clapping and cheering, and people taking pictures and hugging and crying, and you know what I thought? This is the culmination of 10 years of one word: momentum. 10 years of pushing and striving and driving and dreaming and everything for this one moment, and it was worth every single second of it. I don't know what that moment is for you, but it's out there. I don't know what relationship it is, but it's close. It may be in my big coaching program, Monster Producer. It may be an investor in the new Greatness Factory. It may be going to Seaside, Florida with us. It may be getting on a boat with me or an airplane. I don't know what momentum is, but I promise you this. What we're selling is energy, and what we're selling is a future state. And that's what you're selling too. And people are attracted to other people who have momentum. Let me give you some kryptonite. Every week I come into your life. Multiply your life. That's what I meant to say in the beginning, Jack. Multiply your life, money, and business. That's what a good coach should be doing. Because you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. Here's your kryptonite. This is the one thing holding you back. God bless you for listening to my podcast. Jack Rover, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We've over 110,000 downloads on the podcast. I heard Tim Ferriss say he had 200 million downloads of his podcast. Come on, Tim. You got some momentum, right? But thank you for downloading the podcast, Super Coach. Thank you for downloading Living with the Monster. Thank you for being a monster producer. We're building momentum. You know, my goal this year, Jack, was 250 monster producers. We got over 350. I got a new target. You know what the new target is? 1,000. I'd like to have 1,000 stark, raving, crazy monsters running around just everywhere, just monster producers everywhere, right? So here's your kryptonite. This is the one thing holding you back. You won't take the actions necessary to build positive momentum. And you know what you're doing? You're practicing the C's. You're comparing, you're complaining, you're contending, you're criticizing, you're complacent, you're cynical. You'll never build momentum in your life practicing any of these negative habits. Guys, I believe everybody needs a coach in life. Thank you for following me on this fan page. Go to CoachBurt.com. Check out MonsterProducer.com. I'll let you come one time for free if you want to check it out. My goal is 1,000 monsters in the program. If you're coming to 10X in Vegas, I can't wait to see you. Cardone's asking me what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about building momentum, baby. How do you go from a high school basketball coach to build a business and build some momentum? So every week I come into your life. God bless you. Everybody needs a good coach in life. Thank you for letting me be yours. You know, my buddy Brad Lee really changed my mind about this. He said there's a difference between training and exposure. See, we've all been exposed to each other on this trip. Training is something we do every day, like working a muscle. Training is, the military trains every day. You know why? Preparedness. They never know what's going to come next. Olympians train every day. Top sales professionals train every day. Top speakers train every day. They're working that muscle. And you know what happens when you work that muscle a lot? It becomes muscle memory. Too few people place a high value on training of their people. Like the group I just spoke to, I guarantee you none of them, they're selling $1 million boats, and none of them have ever been coached in how to overcome objection, opposition of thought, how to handle an objection, how to maneuver an objection. They've probably never been coached in how to touch somebody 7 touches. They've not been trained, so how do they get better? Most people are not reading books. The average American reads less than 1 book a year. They're not watching YouTube videos. They're not listening to podcasts. They're just going through the motions of life. So here's what I believe. Trained people always outperform untrained people. You look at the top gross earning companies in the world, and I guarantee you there is a training mechanism in place where they're training every day. Question is, why aren't you training your people? You want them to get better, but you're not coaching them daily. Work at muscle. Work at muscle. We train in 4 or 5 areas. How to explain your services, how to work a selling system, how to follow up like a pro, how to extract referrals. I don't care what business you're in. Those are vital components of running a business. So these are areas that I think everybody needs to be training in every single day, especially if they want to be great.